Right folks, we're going fishing in a bit, so I wanted to show you the rig I'm going to use, and I'm going to show you how to make it. It's my preferred rig of choice for all round, for whatever you're fishing for. It's a good all-purpose rig. It's called a 1 up 1 down, and I'm going to show you what line I'm using, explain why I'm using it and how to make it. So right, so the main body of the rig is 60-pound line. The reason I'm using 60-pound line is I'm using a 5-ounce weight. So this is what my shot leader is. I'll explain shot leaders in another video. But your line needs to match or be higher than the weight you're using. So for example, I use a 5-ounce lead, so I could use 50-pound line as my main line on my rig body. But I always go a little bit higher because your line will rub on rocks and weekends, so you always want it to be a little bit stronger, err on the side of caution. So I'm going to cut that to length now, and I'm just going to go approximately the width of the table. I don't need it that long, but always give yourself a bit extra. And the first thing you need is a swivel for the top. Fix that on, and I'll show you the knot I'm using as well. So pull through about 4 or 5 inches and go round 1, 2, 3, 4 times and make a loop. Then go round another 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. Call it the 4 and 3. Make it tight. Wet your line. Always wet your line so you don't burn it and make it weak. And just cinch it up tight, and it just tightens itself down. And then just nip off the tag end. You can go as short as you like with these knots, because they just keep getting tighter, they don't come loose. So the next thing you want is a bead. You go bead, another swivel, another bead, a crimp, just show you them, crimp, another crimp, bead, swivel, and bead. Then the next thing is the last thing on your main line, and that's something to connect your weight to. And I'm just going to use one of these, which is a Gemini clip, and just do exactly the same knot again. Decide how long you want your main body. I'm going to go about there, so I'm going to snip some of this length off. Make it a bit easier. Again about 4 inches, and go around 1, 2, 3, 4 and make a loop, and go back round again 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Snug it down but not tight, wet it, and pull it down tight, and just snip the tag end off. Then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to position your beads to where you want them to sit. So my top one I want right up high. I'm going to crimp that down there. You don't want to overdo this, and you want to make sure that your pliers aren't touching your line so they don't cut it. So that's my top one in place now, like so. Position your bottom one. So this is going to be a down, so this is going to hang below my weight, sit on the seabed. I'll crimp that about there. Like so. And then I'm going to use 40-pound line for my snood length. And to make sure that my hook isn't dangling below this swivel, I always attach my snood length to my swivel first. Exactly the same knot again. 1, 2, 3, 4, make a loop. 1, 2, 3. Pull it down tight. Cut off the tag end. And pulling the swivel at the top, pull both lines down tight together, and I always cut just where the line lines up with the swivel. So just where my finger is there, so I'm going to cut there, and then by the time I get the hook on, it's going to sit nicely above. Right, so what I'm also going to add is some float beads. Now, some people say that you don't need float beads for certain tides, certain places you fish, and they're probably right, but I've always found I do quite well with fishing with float beads. So I'm going to put a bead above first, and then my float bead. There's a bit of wire through them. There's a loop on the end. Just put your line through the loop. And just pull it through. The hooks I'm using are Sakuma Mantas. I'll just show you the box. Sakuma Mantas, size 3/0. I really like these hooks. They stay really sharp for a really long time, and they're really strong. So again, same knot to add your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. Loop. 1, 2, 3. Cinch it down, wet it and pull. Having beads above your bait is a great idea as well for stopping your bait sliding up your line. So what I always like to do is I always like to add a stop knot to stop the beads going too far up your line as well. So we'll do that now. And any line does for your stop knot. So about 6 inches long. Grab your snood length about halfway up and cross it over, and then go around 6 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and make a loop. And go around 6 times again, but in the opposite direction. So that time I came this way around. So next time I'm going to go that way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And you cinch it down, wet it, and cinch it down nice and tight, but not so tight that you can't move it. Because if you're going to be using different baits throughout the night, you may have a worm bait which is really long. You may have, say, a mussel bait which is really short, so you might want to adjust your stop knot. Snip your tag ends off. There you go. You can just slide that stop knot around to wherever you want it. Right, and we'll do the bottom length now. Same again. Same knot. Take the tag end off. And decide how long you want your bottom one. I want my bottom one quite long, so we'll go there. Same again, I'm going to add a bead and a float bead. And then my hook. I'm using my teeth to do this, you probably shouldn't do that. So as you can see, I've just put my line through the little hoop there. I'm just going to pull it through. Do it with pliers. No, teeth it is. There we go, and it's just pulled it through. And you just discard that. Pull your line through. There you go. Hook next. Don't stab yourself because these hooks are very sharp. Cinch it down, wet it, pull it tight, and again take the tag end off. Just add a stop knot, stop your beads doing that, ending up right up your line. Tighten it up, wet it, and pull it tight, but not so tight that you can't move it. Don't strangle the snood length. Take the tag ends off. That's all done. You now have a rig where you've got one hook up high, one sitting on the sea floor, and you weight one up, one down. The rig winder is just a piece of pipe insulation, and I found it really handy. An excellent thing to use for fishing because it's cheap. When it gets stinking, you can throw it away, and it holds down your rigs really nicely. So there's a little slit in the pipe insulation, so all you do is stick your weight clip, your Gemini clip, into that slit and just wind it round like so. When you come to a hook, just hook it into the pipe insulation like that, and then just continue winding. Like that. There you go. Rig winder.